4 to 6 minutes. Y'all need to practice. Don't practice for 2 minutes and say, oh, I can make 4. If y'all aren't practicing the 4 to 6 minutes, I'm going to show up at your doorstep, burst through the door, I'm going to grab you by the shoulders and shake you until you understand that there's a time limit. 4 to 6, because this is when I start counting off. Okay? 4 to 6. You practice this sort of thing. Citing Sources Workshop. Now that's going to be a lot of information. It's going to be a lot of me reading. I do not expect you to take it all in. It's a lot. I'm a master's student, and I still have to kind of be careful with citing sources. So the good news is that I'm going to upload this to Blackboard, and all the examples are going to be in green. So when y'all are going to start citing, and y'all are going to start citing for the next presentation, I want y'all to go to this. It's going to be a PDF, and I want y'all to use the examples, because I practiced this last night, and I really don't see how everybody can learn without actually doing it. So I just want us to get a general baseline. Then we're going to go over the informational presentation. We're going to do the sign-ups today, and then like a really, really simple discussion. So recap. I hope this jogs your memory. The fundamentals of presenting are confidence, knowledge, and preparation. We also went very, very in-depth into eye contact. And then I have this highlighted in red because I was going over the video. Olivia, you and your teammate had brought up facial expressions and voice fluctuation. And funny enough, I think I just focused on the voice fluctuation because I was trying to drive the point home. I think I meant to go over facial expressions, but y'all had brought up some really, really good points. So if you're up here presenting and you got a smile on your face like y'all said, people might be more willing to listen to you. So I just want y'all to take that into consideration. If you're more excited about it, typically people will be able to tell. Personality and personability, if you make it more personable, people also might be more willing to listen to you. And also, people want to see your personality. They don't really want monotone and things like that. And then stance and posture, just know that it does have an effect on perception, how you stand. So we went over crossing your arms, we went over, putting your hands behind your back, and we went over fiddling. And then I also looked at the video that I had created, and I like to sway quite a bit. People notice that sort of thing. I like to sway because I'm excited. I like to sway because I like being in front of all of you and knowing and get to knowing all of you and that sort of thing. That's the recap. So let's get into the meat of the presentation. Citing sources. Typically in academia, we use APA, which stands for the American Psychological Association. It's used in behavioral and social science, psychology, business, and more. So if you plan on going into your master's or getting a PhD, you're going to want to get to know this pretty intimately. All right. Also, how I set these up is that when y'all are starting to cite these underlined bullet points, you just find the one you need and then use the green as an example. Because, like I said, it's a lot of information. So how do you cite a quote? Say, for instance, you cite Kobe Bryant. Use the author's last name, the year of publication, and the page number. And you could say Bryant there. Bryant, 1998, page number 199. Now, I really want us to pay attention to the punctuation. They mean something. They do. So, in-text citations go at the very end of the sentence. Not at the beginning, not in the middle. Okay, at the very end of the sentence. And that last period, after that parentheses, ends the sentence. Okay, and then you need the parentheses. So just when you're going over y'all's citations, use that as an example. How do you cite a source with 3+ authors? First author's name followed by et al. That is Latin for and others. Pay attention to the punctuation again. So Kernus et al. After the AL, there's a period. You need that period. Okay, and then there's a comma. Then you got the date, all that snazzy jazz. How do you cite a source with an unknown author? The source's title, italicized books and reports, use quote marks for articles and web pages. Now, italicizing books and reports, generally speaking, we italicize because books and reports are longer pieces of work, generally. Academia, that might be a little bit different, but that's general. And then quote marks are typically shorter pieces of work. That's why we use quote marks. It just tells everybody what's shorter and what's longer. So this, using citations, is a shorter piece of work. It's either an article or a web page. Pay attention to the punctuation again. Notice that the comma goes inside the quotation marks. I say that on purpose and with that voice fluctuation because I taught writing for communication last semester, And a lot of us put the punctuation outside of quotation marks. It goes inside. All right? Is that everybody clear? What's up?
When it's a quote, if it doesn't have a page number, like if it was spoken verbally, do you just leave that part out?
Verbally? I think verbally, yes. Now, there's another example in here where you can do paragraph numbers, but again, if it's verbal, yeah, you wouldn't. I haven't seen anything where.
If you're like quoting a speech or something.
Yeah, I think you would just use the author. I don't think you say anything similar to verbal. Is that, we all good so far? A little bit more. Okay, good. So how do you cite a secondary source? Name the original source in the text and the secondary source in the parentheses. Now, I know that sounds funny. I went over this a few times on my own. I haven't had to worry about secondary sources personally. So you may not have to worry about it a great deal, but it's good to know about it. So say, for instance, you find an article and you can't find the original article that you need to cite. That's the secondary source. So this is how you would set it up. Johnson, 1985, as cited in Smith. So we're saying that there's two different articles. 2003, page 102. How do you cite an electronic source without page numbers? Here's that paragraph stuff. Use section names, abbreviated headings, or paragraph numbers. So Smith, 1997, Mind over Matter section, paragraph 6. Notice that paragraph is shortened, abbreviated, para 6. Everybody good? Good. Okay, the bibliography, which just means references. Formatting a reference list, which I will see in y'all's next presentation. We'll get into it here in a minute. It's located at the very end of your paper/presentation. It is not continuous. It is a very new page. It helps readers locate and retrieve cited sources. Starts on a new page titled References, bolded and centered. So at the very end of y'all's next presentation, I should see it a bold, centered, references, and then all of the citations should be formatted like how we're going over. Okay? And then use double spacing. Now, it says use double spacing. I think typically in like theses and PhD stuff, you double space. But I think to fit everything in a presentation, I shouldn't expect to see double spacing. Just you can fit it all in there. Okay, reference list. This is a funny slide. I included this because the other TAs included this. Basically, all this says is that we are in the 7th edition of the APA Style Guide and that we need to follow these rules. All right? That's pretty much it. All right, so for a single author, use the last name and the author initials. Ahmed S., 2012, On Being Included, Racism and Diversity in Institutional Life, Duke University Press. It's really straightforward. Now, I'm in Masters and we still see trouble with this sort of stuff. This is tick for tack what you need to do. So, last name, comma, first initial, period. Notice that the date is in parentheses. All the punctuation when you're citing stuff means something. And people will get onto you if you don't do it correctly. And heck, I'll probably count off if you don't do it correctly. Okay? And this is tick for tack, like I said. So, also what I want to bring up is that notice that the word on is capitalized. So it's obviously capitalized because it's the first word after a period. The same thing happens after the colon. So for the word racism, right? Now what you are going to see, not possibly, what you are going to see, if you're citing an article for instance, is that the titles are all capitalized. We don't do that for citations. So for instance, if you were out exploring and you saw this, Ahmed's work, you would see On Being Included, all of it would be capitalized. But in citations, we don't have to do that unless it's after a punctuation. Is that clear? Great. And then you've got the Duke University Press, which is where it's published. Here's just another simple example. I use me to make it a little bit more easy. Downing, R, 2024, Business and Professional Commas, dope, Texas Tech University Press. Pretty straightforward.
Is that an actual article you wrote?
No, I wish. That'd be good, though. It was just on the spot. So for two authors, list by their last names and initials, separate author names with a comma, and use the ampersand instead of and. I'm going to be looking for that. The ampersand. So Soto CJ is one person, and John OP is another person. So there's two authors in there. Notice that they also have their middle names in there. Sometimes it gets a little weird. All right? 2017. There's the title. Now, if you're citing a journal, I couldn't do that in this presentation, unfortunately. But if you're citing a journal, that's italicized. So the journal and the volume is italicized. I'll write it down, I think, after we get done with this presentation. So Journal of Personality and Social Psychology and 113 are all italicized. Everything after that's not. Okay? It's a little weird. It's very strange. So the 113 in the parentheses 1, that's the volume number and the issue number. So just notice if you were citing a journal entry, you're going to want to follow this guide. It's a shame that I wasn't able to italicize. Hopefully I will remember that. I'm expecting you to remember that, okay? Also notice that the journal is the only thing capitalized, like completely, the title. Okay? Does everyone see that? The journal is capitalized, Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. That, and also I think we should get into it here in a second. If y'all are having trouble, just email me. And then if you've cited all your sources and you just want to double check it, I'll double check it for you and I'll correct you. Because I don't want to count off points for citations. I want us to learn. All right, so I don't mind if every single one of y'all, every single one of my students sends me a confirmation. Last, that URL is called the DOI. I can't remember what it stands for right now. I don't know why, but it's literally just a link to get to the specific article. You'll also need that. If you can't find it, that's okay. But if it's there and it's typically there, you'll need to put it down at the very end. And the 117 and 143, those are the page numbers. Notice that you don't have to put the actual P period. Okay, so verbal citations. This is what I should be seeing in your next presentation. It's pretty natural. There's a table in the next slide that goes over it pretty in depth, pretty well. Cite naturally, you do your source credentials, publication title, and date of work, if relevant. If you don't think it's relevant, you don't have to include it. All right, I'm not going to go over this entire table. I want y'all to go and look at it when y'all are practicing, because it tells you exactly what you need to know, what you should and shouldn't do, and why you shouldn't do things. It's pretty straightforward. I love it. And so for y'all's presentations, here's something similar to what I should be hearing. Research done by Kelly Kapoor at the National Traffic Safety Institute shows ... A 2019 study done at the Pratt Institute of Art shows ... So say, for instance, Olivia, you're doing a presentation on fishing. Say, for instance, you want to do it on how to catch Moby Dick. Okay, so what you should say is research done by Captain Ahab in, what was it, like 16 whatever, shows ... Is that clear to everybody? Good. That's basically like a cheat sheet, by the way. I would absolutely look at that. Absolutely look at that. So, informational presentation. We're going to be starting these next week. We are going to be signing up today. So I want you to teach me and your classmates something. Anything. Anything that's not super broad and that we don't know already. So the fishing example is perfect. I've fished before, but I don't know everything about it. Now, with the presentations, you teach it as if you don't assume we know anything. So you tell me how to put a worm on a hook. All right? 4 to 6 minutes. Y'all need to practice. Don't practice for 2 minutes and say, oh, I can make 4. If y'all aren't practicing the 4 to 6 minutes, I'm going to show up at your doorstep, burst through the door, I'm going to grab you by the shoulders and shake you until you understand that there's a time limit. 4 to 6, because this is when I start counting off. Okay? 4 to 6. You practice this sort of thing. There have been plenty of times where I went under before at a conference, and it's embarrassing. There have been plenty of times where I went over before, and people have to cut me off. It's embarrassing. What you do is you practice. So at that conference, for instance, what I've noticed is, I don't know if y'all have ever been to one before, but it's, you go to a lot of meetings and things of that nature, and people can get really tired, and everybody drinks coffee. They said at the beginning, talk for about 10 minutes. I chose to talk for 6. I did it on purpose. I get the most important information out as quickly as possible, then they can get up and go get coffee, right? Now, guess what? Lo and behold, I get there. They say, oh, you need to talk for 20 minutes. I prepared for 6. 6 minutes. It was rough. It was rough. Now, what I did was I went up there and I said, listen, I practiced this religiously, and it's a solid 6 minutes. And everybody laughed because it's honest. It's honest. And they may have been okay with that sort of thing because, again, they can get up and go get coffee. But either way, it shows that I wasn't necessarily prepared for a 20-minute talk. I've gone over before, and people have had to stop me. That's never fun either, because you feel like your point's not finished. Okay, so practice, please. You do need a visual aid, which is just this. It's just a presentation. You do need 5 sources. I will be counting those, so I should see 5 sources formatted properly at the very end of your presentation, and 3 must be referenced in your speech. So we go back. Captain Ahab in 16, whatever, said ... 3 times. I need to hear that 3 times. So you need to do your research on this sort of stuff. Don't assume we know everything, and it's got to be backed up. It's got to be cited. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a journal article, okay? But it's got to be cited somewhere. You must present to the class on the day of your assigned speech. Your outline will be due that same day. All right. I don't know if y'all remember or not, but that outline's really, really important, and we grade on that sort of stuff. And if it's any more than 24 hours late, so if it's at the 25th hour, it's an automatic 50% deduction, and that's not minus the deductions that I will make. Automatic 50. So it's like you get those dang outlines in, all right? You get them in. Don't forget about those outlines. And then if you have a problem, you sign up for a day today, and have a problem, make sure to email me. We can figure that sort of thing out. So this is, we're not going to go over this now. I included this for y'all's sake when you go over this presentation. I'm going to upload it as a PDF, so I'm hoping you can go in and copy the link and just paste it. But this is a video from Dr. Clem explaining what we just went over a little bit more in depth. And so when I say teach me and your classmates about something, it can be passions, something you want to do, something you know more about than everybody else, right? But she explains a little bit more in depth. Now, the one thing I will say about this video is that she says that we record on Microsoft Teams. That's not how we're going to record. I'm going to get, you are going to ask your friends in here to record for you. Then you're going to upload as an unlisted YouTube link. So I'm not going to be responsible for the recording. I'm not going to be recording over Microsoft Teams. Someone's going to get a phone out and then upload it as a YouTube link. Does that make sense to everybody? Good. So we will start recording our next presentations. And this video is like 10 minutes long, so it's very helpful. So y'all's assessment, I'm going to be going over the completeness of your speech. I'm telling you what I'm going to be grading you on. Okay, I am telling you. Completeness of speech, your attention getter, you need one. Like I said last time, I use questions. You don't have to. There's a whole slew of different examples that you can use. Attention getter, your intro, the body, the conclusion, right? Makes sense. Knowledge and depth of research, including the use of credible sources. Ability to thoroughly explain your topic. Now, when I say that, it also means that you treat me like I have no clue what you're talking about. That bleeds into the idea that if you're talking about fishing, you tell me exactly how you put that dang worm on the hook. You don't assume I know anything, okay? Same for your classmates. You teach us from baseline, square one. So the audience analysis, did you give your audience enough background of the subject, or did you assume they knew more than they did? I just talked about that. Your ability to create a complete outline. So that just bleeds into how important that dang outline is. All right, now remember, the outline is due within 24 hours of your presentation. Double check citations and ask for help if needed. If I don't respond within 12 hours, just send it again and I promise I'll see it. But I am here for y'all. I am here to help y'all. Okay? Use it. I'm a resource. Show me what help looks like to you. All right? Self-eval, due within 24. You do have one of those. Also due within 24 hours of your presentation. You upload a recording of the YouTube link and put the link on the self-eval doc. Okay? Now, the beauty in the self-eval, it says 1 to 2 complete sentences. What I don't want to see is just a broad, basic sentence saying, oh, I could do better at this, or I could do this differently. Nothing simple. I need a complete sentence, at least. Y'all can do that. Now, in the past, a lot of times, students, they make like a 3-word sentence, and then I end up counting off for it, or we had ended up counting off for it. So it's like y'all can self-evaluate enough for 1 to 2 complete sentences. Penalties at the 25th hour to 72 hours, 50% deduction. That's pretty wild to me. right? So just get it in, and then after 72 hours, it's just 0, no points. All right, might take a little bit more time than I expected. So let's go ahead and go down the line. Ryan, what are you thinking?
Literally nothing.
Nothing? Nothing yet? Yeah, I feel it. I get it. It happens to me all the time. Any ideas off the top of your head? Just blurting it out. If not, that's completely okay. Just want us to start thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. Teresa?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Love it. All right. Dungeons and Dragons. Great, great. Alexandra?
Shark finning.
Sorry?
Shark finning.
What is that? Shark finning. I'm sorry. Yeah. That sounds really cool.
No idea.
No idea. What's your name again? Caleb. Okay, Caleb. What's up? Nothing yet? Okay, well, I'm glad we're doing this discussion so we can start, moving those cogs. What about you?
Do you have any more examples of stuff people did last year?
Oh, I can try and get that.
You know what I mean? Just so
Yeah.
I can know how broad the...
Yeah, that's a good point. So, on the YouTube video, she's also pretty broad.
You're like, here's my 6-minute history lection about the entire world.
Yeah, so I think of it more as like passions. So if I were in y'all's shoes, what I would do is how to write a book. Right, that sounds cheesy, right? How to publish, how about that? So that's why I kept using the example of fishing, and then shark finning sounds wild. That sounds like a great idea.
It's where the fishers cut off the shark's
Oh,
fin.
Yeah.
Shark finning.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then just throw them back into the ocean and leave to die.
That's rough. That's rough. So I think of it more along the lines of passions. So you could also think of it as something that you might know that not everybody else might know. I know it's kind of broad, but it's maybe something you specialize in, for instance. Is that a little bit more clear? I can try and get examples. I'll ask my bosses. Grace, right? Claire.
Yeah.
You look similar to somebody else that I know. Claire. Okay, Claire.
We're gonna do how to make a drink.
Perfect. So, did you hear? Everybody hear that? She works at 7 Brew, so she's gonna do how to make a drink. Right? Not everybody knows how to do a drink.
Oh, all I knew was how to make a drink, and I was thinking mixology.
So it's a good example. How about you?
I've been really thought something related to cheer because
Related to cheer. Good. So.
How to play hockey.
Great. What about you?
I don't know yet.
Don't know yet.
It's maybe how to make scrambled eggs or something.
Yeah, that can work. That can absolutely work. If you can get 4 to 6 minutes worth of how to make scrambled eggs, you can do that. Mackenzie, right?
Eggs all types of ways.
I was thinking how to paint.
Nice. Absolutely. Painting, drawing, it's a fantastic idea. Olivia?
Mine's probably going to be something oil and gas related. So I did
Great.
do a lot of research on it in high school, and my dad works for an oil and gas company.
Absolutely.
And it's my major. So
Yes. Bleeds in together. Perfect.
I was thinking about hunting ethics.
Yep. Great. Absolutely. I'm a big hunter, so I'd like to hear that sort of stuff.
Someone fishing maybe. I don't really know.
Fishing? Yeah. Good.
Probably something medical related, like drawing blood.
Good.
Stuff like that.
100%. That could absolutely be beneficial.
How to play basketball.
Basketball. Perfect. Straightforward.
Homemade pasta.
Pasta. Nice. I like that. Yeah, that's great.
Maybe something like vinyl records.
Wow. Yeah. Love that. What about you, Angela?
Something about
Sports. Okay. Good. What about, I'm going to start with one more time. Your name? Tanner. Okay.
I was gonna do how to make a smoothie.
Smoothie. Great.
I'm not copying her.
No. Yeah, I wouldn't suggest it's copying. No worries.
I had that before.
Yeah. I saw your reaction to when she said it, so don't worry. What about you?
How to run a computer program?
Nice. Wow. Yeah, I'd be definitely interested in hearing about that.
Something about sports or cooking.
Sports or cooking? Great. Okay. Good. That was just a little exercise that I wanted y'all to do to just to get those cogs turning inside your brain. Now you don't have you're not committing to anything. Y'all can change it. Just remember that we're going to be starting next week, and also not tomorrow. Wednesday should be a workshop day, so it's we should be able to work on the presentations. It'll be a very brief lecture and then a workshop day. So it's 33 133. I'm going to show y'all really briefly some citation examples. I might try and give y'all some like a little exercise here, and then I'll let y'all go. So let's see. This is what it might look like on a paper. All right, so you got the last name. Let's look here. Pretty straightforward stuff. All right, here's where I could show y'all the, here it is. How about that? Notice that it's all capitalized, the journal, and that the volume number is also italicized. Okay, so italicized, 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 and then right once it gets to the issue number, it's not italicized. This is if you are using an article or a journal paper, right? So depending on what y'all are using, you go to this presentation and you find out what you need and then just use it as an example. Good. So I'm gonna try and think really quickly about just a brief exercise. Can't remember if this is following me or not. No. Let's let me think. And then oh wait, I got a better idea. Okay, is there anything wrong with this? Besides that I didn't finish the whole thing. Can anyone point it out? You can be brave. What's that?
The whole title's capitalized.
Whole title's capitalized. Perfect. Whole title's capitalized. So this needs to be lowercase. It also needs a period. That's my fault though. Okay, there's one more. There's two. Let me go to.
The date isn't in parentheses.
Perfect. Love it. The reason why I did this exercise is because we need to know that there are parentheses. And then we also need to know that the period goes on the outside. Remember that I said that the periods and the punctuation, they all mean something.